Indeed, a very inspiring video, Anil, and nice fertile audience here. Lots of hospitality professionals could make it into a recruitment pitch as well. But what I noticed about the video was, like I think a challenge many companies face where fantastic legacy, and how are you able to balance it between what's needed today, what the future requires, yet making sure you are leveraging that wonderful legacy which ITC hotels have. So I think it's a challenge for most leaders, and you being in this role certainly are trying to figure that out as well. But let's start with helping our audience understand this journey for you, particularly in the last 6 months since you went to being a listed entity on your own. What's changed in your life in many ways, both as a leader and who's now the first person you think of when you wake up? Do you still see your company's revenue, or do you see the stock price first? Give us a little color on how your journey shaped out after the listing, and what ITC is today to what it was for the last how many ever years you worked with them.
Thank you, sir. Very good morning to all of you. First of all, it's a pleasure to be back to BW. Thank you, sir, for the invitation. The idea of showing you the video for 5 minutes was because we have 20-minute session, so the questions can reduce, so we showed you a 5-minute clipping quickly. And if you notice in the clipping, it says, "Our legacy inspires our future." It's an organization which has been built on a lot of trust and faith by some brilliant work done over the last 50 plus years that the organization has been in place. It's been a fantastic journey for ITC Hotels. I think we built some great brands, some great assets over the years. Last 3 to 4 years certainly have been on a slightly different path when we said we need to actively look at managing others' assets. So we chose the path called the asset right path. Not the light, but it only means that you will continue to invest. The entire scale or the entire volume would come from managing others' assets. We launched 2 new brands. We continue to invest in our existing hotels portfolio. We look out for management opportunities. We continue to drive sustainability in the country. We are very well aware of the kind of work which needs to be done in the digital space, whether it's front of the house or back of the house. We are well aware of the challenges that lie ahead in terms of people, so we would love to invest in them. How do you retain great talent? How do you make them grow? So the last few years actually have been spent in grown like 1.5x on the managed hotel side, when we actively said that we are a serious hospitality player who can get you good returns. Our performance of the organization has been pretty strong on that front. If we look at how we managed our efficiency post-COVID era, has been actually quite brilliant. If you look at the last 6 months, yes, 2 big things happened. One, the demerger from the parent company. 2, getting our own listing. So it's been quite an exciting year. For me personally, I think it's been great amount of learning. More than delivering so much. I think you had to absorb a lot. There were things which were absolutely new, and my company, we work together. It's a rock solid organization, and they support you, they train you, they groom you, so that you can take a center stage and move on in life and deliver what is required for all the stakeholders.
So this asset light, asset right, it's clearly a strategy which most organizations are looking to follow, particularly like yourselves who built a strong base of assets and now have the capability. But when you look at managing other people's hotels and owners come into the equation, often, it's not in the DNA of every organization. When you essentially own hotels and operate them yourselves to manage for other people, it's always a challenge. I think you mentioned that sometimes when you send your general managers from your owned assets to work for other owners, the skill gap is really in managing that owner more than anything else. And yet, if I were to ask you your portfolio between managed and owned, I would imagine your revenues and profits are still 80-90% derived from the big assets you own. So how is it making sense to spend so much effort and time on building these asset-light new brands and all of that, are the returns really justifying it, or is there another reason from a growth perspective that you're doing that?
So I think you're absolutely right. It was something very new for a lot of us. Managing the aspirations of an owner, making sure that they return on profitability, convincing him when you're fighting in a marketplace which is very crowded. The owner has plenty of choices. Every possible brand is available to you. In 48 hours, you can get a term sheet on your table. What is it that you bring to the table? And I've always said that we all fight for the same piece of cake, but how do you bake it and how do you serve it is important. And that started changing a bit when we started looking at the opportunities which are available. And I think what really worked for us is the large ITC hotels across all locations. So in the hub and spoke model, it gave an opportunity for the GM also to grow. And that's, I think, what they lapped.
Just elaborate on that.
So if you're running a ITC Grand Goa, for example, we just signed our 10th property in Goa. There is a person available, there's a backup available. You can manage 10 other hotels, without winking an eyelid. There's a person who handles all our northern hotel sitting at the Sheraton in Delhi. And he has a full team who's able to, deliver all that. So a bit of mindset change was certainly required, but I think everybody understands that if you want to grow an organization and you want to grow in an organization, it's important to, buy the vision of the organization and work towards it. And that is what exactly we are trying to do. Launch of a new brand was difficult. I don't deny that. For the longest period, we couldn't find really a partner who could, we could sign ITC hotel with. And that is how the Mementos was born. When we won our first deal in Udaipur, somebody trusted us with a brand when the brand also was not ready. But I think the owner enjoyed, dealing with us for almost 60 days.
So let's talk about that now. Brand architecture, let's just put that in context. So essentially you're now 6 brands?
6 brands.
6 brands. So ITC, luxury space, you integrated Fortune now,
That's right.
More into the organization, 2 new brands, 1 in luxury, one
in
kind
premium.
of a joker
Stories
can
premium.
play in a few segments. Is this brand architecture, firstly, was it externally developed or did you all do it internally? Because many organizations hire big brand companies to do this and all that for you. Excuse me, was that process internal or did you kind of actually recreate a brand architecture? If you haven't, are you still looking to do that? And I'll be honest, Anil, I'm asking this question because generally the perception is, as you said, very strong, very steady. But today, brands are evolving in a way in which their identities and what customers see of them and all that, bilkul badal gaya from, earlier days. So is this the final brand architecture for ITC? Is there still something where you're looking to move towards, evolve towards more brands or more distinctiveness within brands? Share this whole story. I know you'd love to use the word, you've got defined swim lanes for your brands, right? Yeah, I think you mentioned that. So talk about that.
I think the brand is not that we wake up every morning and one morning and say, let's create a brand. I think the need has to be there. And if you look at our historical past, ITC has always developed brands on its own. Whether it's ITC hotels, whether it's cuisine brands like Bukhara or Dampot, or whether it's Avartan in the Southern Indian space, we've always, as an organization, understood the need in the market and then you go forward. I'll tell you how story got evolved because I think we were leaving loose change on the table. And when I got this opportunity, I used to also wonder that when somebody came to you to say, can you manage a 30, 40, 50 room hotel for us? And first answer is no, we don't. And then we realized that why should we say no? Why is it that we are not able to create a brand around it, which can certainly. So we opened 7 stories, we have 12 in the pipeline. It's growing beautifully. In the luxury space, it was hard to find an ITC Platinum partner who would say, my building is going to be LEED Platinum. I'll open 4 branded restaurants. I'll have a club privé. My minimum room size is going to be so much. So you made these classics, if you ask me. ITC Maurya, ITC Maratha. These are hotels. They're phenomenal hotels. They're just institutions who are going to last with you. And so you got to be very careful in choosing a partner whom you give the tag to. And thereby, we realized that, okay, we can be a bit flexible and look at another brand in the same space. And that's where Mementos got born. This is contemporary luxury. And I think the owner's done a great job in Udaipur. We opened the 2nd one in Jaipur. We've signed 3rd one in Shillong. We have a property coming up in Rishikesh. So the brand will grow beautifully there as well. If tomorrow there's a need, Of course, we look at it. Why should we close to open anything? When Avartan came into our existence, we were very well known for Bukhara and Dampot. When we said we are lacking behind in the south with the South Indian brand, we opened the first Avartan. Today we have 5 Avartans. And Condé Nast rated Avartan to be the #1 restaurant in the country last year. So we actually enjoy creating something.
So we'll talk about F&B later, but continue on this Fortune. For the longest, it seemed to many of us कि वो थोड़ा सा यतीम था within ITC, खुद कर रहा था. What's changed and what is that going to do to help you in your growth and your pipeline?
I think it's the strongest brand today with the number of offers that we get for Fortune and Welcome Hotel, if you ask me. I don't know where this perception came, but...
no,
today,
because you,
yeah.
internally in ITC, it was almost a separate mini organization.
Yeah, but it's one organization today. That's why I keep telling everybody, 140 hotel, 13,500 keys. Maybe there were 2 different people who were running it, but that's why they could have been a challenge. But I think I've integrated the whole thing. So it's one organization running all the brands together, and we'll only grow strength to strength. We'll only grow stronger each passing day. So it's a common team which is going to be feeding all these brands together, which gives a lot of strength, which also gives a lot of growth opportunities to the GMs of Fortune. They have some brilliant guys out there. I met them once or twice here and there, and I realized there's a lot of strength that they have.
So when we think about your competitors, particularly with new brands, you launched Mementos as well as Story, reviving Fortune. Are you finding that in the development landscape, you're competing more with the international brands in that space or Indian brands, not just the big ones, new ones? Because I get a sense that that brand landscape is becoming quite crowded, cluttered, new players, all of that. What are you doing to distinguish yourself? Or kaun hai? When you go to sign a deal, jo bahar wait kar raha hai, is it a Marriott or a IHCL or who? Just help us understand that.
It's not cluttered, it's crowded for sure. And when you go to an owner, everybody's reached there. I
there.
might reach before or somebody else later. That's immaterial. But I think it's become a very transparent world today, if you ask me. And I think all the development heads, all the CEOs of all these companies that you mentioned, they are all available. There's nobody who's sitting on a high horse saying that if you want my hotel, talk to somebody else. I spend almost 3 to 4 hours a day now on meeting people. And it's not easy to win a deal. I can also assure you that. But it gives you a great amount of joy when you win something. So you're competing with actually technically everybody. You could be in a metro, you're competing with with IHCL, with EIH, Marriott, Hilton. Why not? Everybody is in the same space. For smaller hotels, maybe you've created a niche, makes it a little easier sometimes for Story. But I think everybody is getting into all the buckets available.
Okay, let's move on to people. You did mention that it's one of your key pillars, your whole talent strategy and all of that. You also mentioned, or maybe it's a perception, that ITC doesn't pay as well as others. Why is that perception there? I thought you guys...
You're asking me or?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
I have no idea who says that.
No? Okay, I mean, there seemed to be a perception. Hopefully,
I think when you work
I'm helping you create a more fertile poaching environment.
When you work for ITC hotels, there's something that we've always believed in for customers or guests. It's a lifetime value of a guest. Similarly, you need to look at the lifetime value of an employee and an organization. If you are in for a short-term gain, you're in the wrong place. But if you are ready to come and build this company brick by brick, you will be a star tomorrow, guaranteed.
So let's elaborate a bit on this people strategy. Your talent pipeline, more recently, you're seeing data come out which says if 10,000, 12,000, 15,000 rooms are being built and opening year on year, somebody said that they're projecting 600 to 800 general managers in 2 years. There were some stats on that. And then you look below that, the requirements clearly don't seem to be anywhere near what will be required if all of your development pipelines actually open as hotels, right? Everybody's talking about it, we're talking about it right now, but I'm not seeing it raised as a real crisis and red flag. Do you also think that apne aap ye overcome ho jayega or something needs to be done?
So amongst the big five that we have for the organization, which is one of the pillars is on people. And we've been fortunate enough to retain good talent. First of all, what is really important is to hire good talent. Two is to retain. Amongst all our luxury hotels today, for example, 70% of them are run by general managers who've grown from the HMI, which is the Hotel Management Institute of ITC Hotel. So they understand completely the values of the organization. And as I said, that if you're ready to stay back in the company and build it brick by brick, future belongs to you. So this has been a fantastic journey on that front. But yes, we are completely aware that going forward, if you need to build your growth story, you will need great talent. You need great people. And I think what is really required today is just the way you're focusing towards guest engagement scores or the guest excellence scores, you need to focus a lot on the employee engagement scores. So we lay a lot of stress on that and making sure that you have a transparent, you have a very, very good playground where people can come and excel. They're able to live their dreams. Gone are the days when you say that you need to be 20 years to become a GM of a luxury hotel. I don't think so. I think barriers are being broken. Gone are the days when said that only food and beverage people or front office people can become great general managers. I think we are trying to widen the canvas a bit and saying that anybody who has the capability, join hands. I have a housekeeper who runs a 300-room property in Bangalore.
So you mentioned that, Anil, and it's a great exception to what I think is the rule. Almost every organization, when they hire entry-level management trainees, whichever program, Oberoi, IHCL, ITC, all of you have programs, Marriott has. Why is it that we are trying to stereotype these young people into saying, tu housekeeping mein hoga, tu sales mein hoga, tu operations mein hoga? And then they struggle the rest of their journey trying to get into leadership where they're almost having to apologize for the fact that I came from housekeeping. Doesn't something have to change in the way this is being looked at?
I would 100% agree with you. I don't think we should look at them when they join the industry. If they have the DNA of a good hotelier, they certainly can turn out to be a great general manager or even take higher leadership positions. But that's something that has been the structure. But after our various discussions that I had with you and the kind of work that you've done in your space, I think that's something that we can look at and change around it.
And if I can take it just one step further, so the big FMCG companies, Unilever, ITC itself, you take management trainees and train them as generalists. They go and do the hard yards in a village selling soap and they do strategy and all of that. So anybody coming out, like even a rooms division person, they must work in housekeeping, no? So why can't they be transferred for 1 year as a housekeeper and then come back into front office or even F&B somehow? And I tell you, this is a generational issue. The younger people today are finding it challenging to accept this. कि हमसे शुरू में ही छाप मार दिया कि मैं तो housekeeper हूँ. So I think if you would, work with the industry to see how this dynamic can change, it would really make a...
No, I agree with you. And I think we took some baby steps. As I said, that the housekeeping girls were hitting a ceiling. We converted, some of them have become resident managers. We have somebody from sales and marketing who wanted to be in general management. We trained her. She's now a resident manager of a large luxury property. We had an executive chef who wanted to be, get into general management. So we allowed that, but I think we can double and triple this. And if you don't wait till middle management, you can probably start afresh, you can start young, and that's something that we can certainly look at. I think...
So we have time for last comments, Anil, and perhaps you'd like to hold a crystal ball and help the audience understand that as a leader of a very large hospitality organization, where are you seeing our industry go in the next 5 years, 10 years, given the advent of technology, AI, all of that? Is it going to be same steady state as it was, or is something fundamentally changed in the way our industry is going to grow?
So I'm quite positive. I understand that our business is cyclic. But if you look at the recent past, especially the post-COVID era, right, there's a genuine interest in this country. It is not that, it's something which is going to suddenly happen. You are seeing how year on year, it's being built and how the industry is going forward with also the infra. You must also look at how things are changing around us. While we know that lots more needs to be done, but you can't take away the fact that 57 airports have doubled. The amount of highways which are there. Today we are talking of story, it's only happening because you got driving distance holidays available. There were no MICE locations available in the country, but there are some fabulous MICE locations available in the country. So I think there's a growing interest in the country for sure. If there was only one bucket of business available, which was the highest, was the corporate. Today there's a huge traction on the retail. There's a good traction on the MICE. Wedding segment is becoming stronger. F&B consumption is only getting better. So I think overall you're on a good track. All the numbers that we hear from all the consultants, demand will outstrip the supply right now. And it takes a little while in India to develop hotels. There's a lot of supply which will come and fuel growth in T2 and T3 locations, which is also great for us. So I think we would love to stay positive at this point in time.
Fantastic. Well, that's all we have time for. Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you, sir.
Chadha, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.